And we're back.
We are back.
Off trail with Luke and Chandler. I'm Luke.
I'm Chandler.
And we're off trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, another good episode here. But you know, we're kind of in the full swing of winter now.
Yeah.
In a way. It's not like crazy snow down the valley here yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
You know, at some point it'll come and give us something to go sledding in the park with. But
yeah, it's supposed to snow here in the next couple days, so
yeah.
it's coming.
But you know, we're just gearing up for more winter hikes.
Mm-hmm.
And hiking in the winter is different than in the summer.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe today we could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So I guess just to start us off, what are some of the differences when it comes to winter hiking compared to hiking like we do in the summer?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, the main thing is you're dealing with ice. You know, in the summertime, you don't have ice to deal with. You're not dealing with slipping and, you know, just not being able to walk. You know, we have to think about different kinds of gear that we need to bring. You need to dress warm, but you need to dress in a way that's not like, you know, you're going to sweat to death, because when you start getting wet, that's when you start freezing, you know? You know, and then there's things, you know, like I mentioned, you don't want to slip, so you're thinking about crampons and snowshoes and different things like that. So there's just a lot of different things you got to think about bringing on a hike, rather than just in the summer, you know, grab your hiking boots and throw on a pair of shorts, you know, hiking pants, whatever, and just go for it. So
Yeah, you got more layers.
yeah.
You know, you can't move as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's a huge issue, but the ice is definitely a factor.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, well, I guess actually, you know, early on in the season, you know, you don't necessarily need crampons or anything because the snow isn't frozen yet.
Yeah.
But as the trail gets packed down, I mean, just the standard trail, it starts to become almost pure ice in some sections.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you do need crampons. They make a huge difference. Like, I don't think people understand how big of a difference those can actually make, especially when you're coming, I mean, up a decent incline or decline.
Yeah.
I mean, you can slip really easily, but those crampons, it's like you're walking on regular dirt.
Yeah. It doesn't even feel like you're walking on ice anymore. So
No.
But-
But I don't know, winter hikes are a lot of fun.
yeah.
And I think, honestly, to some degree, I enjoy them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because I'm one of these weird people who loves the cold.
Yeah.
And I just like being out in cold environments.
Well, you're a Midwesterner, so
yeah,
you know.
it's in my blood.
Exactly.
But, you know, I just enjoy being in that kind of element. And for whatever reason, like, it makes me feel alive.
Yeah.
Is the way I always say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the summer, and not that the hikes in summer are bad, you know, but for whatever reason, I think just being out there in that really crisp air, especially early in the morning or something like that in the winter, just it's a totally different kind of experience, and I just absolutely love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super fun. So, and it's, you know, the places you go hike to, it's totally different in the wintertime. You know, you can go hike to a waterfall. You can go hike to, like, Lake Blanche, for example. You know, in the summertime, it looks totally different.
It's nice.
It's very nice, yeah. But in the wintertime, you know, you hike up there and the lake's frozen. And it just looks totally different.
Yeah,
So,
the areas you get to definitely have a different feel.
yeah.
Because of that. Like Blanche, for example, like you're saying, is, you know, it's a little bit harder to tell exactly where the lake might start. So you do have to be careful if you're going down towards the lake edge. And like for photos especially, it can be a lot harder to get, you know, stellar photos as easily, because when everything's covered in snow, you just lose depth
Yeah.
very quickly.
When everything is white, it's hard to take photos, yeah.
Yeah, like you know, you start to lose the contrast between like the small hill in front of you and the mountain in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really just no distinction between depth at certain ranges, because, and depending on what time of day you go as well, like there's like not shadows because the sun's coming straight down
Yeah.
on stuff, and it's literally just pure white. It's reflective. Like, it can be a lot harder to go get great photos.
Yeah, for sure.
But that doesn't stop us from going out and doing them.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, you get to see cool things too, like, you know, frozen waterfalls and stuff. And those are some of my favorite. You know, hike up and see, you know, some of these cool waterfalls that are in the area, frozen over. You get to see a lot of guys, you know, doing like ice climbing and things like that. That's not something that I would ever do.
No, never.
I don't think I would ever go ice climbing, but it's cool to see it. It's cool to watch them. Like Bridalveil Falls down in Provo Canyon.
Yeah.
There's guys who go ice climbing on that, and they'll rappel off the top all the time, all winter long. It's super cool. So
yeah, it's definitely, the winter still offers up some really neat activities here. Like, that's what I talk about. Back at home in the Midwest, winter comes, and, it's some days it's getting down to negative 15, 20 degree wind chill.
Dude.
The skies are just kind of gloomy, overcast, gray. It's not like an inviting outdoors experience, because you really have to like want to go out in that for some reason. And then also, it's just really cold, and like it's not like it's so cold that it's not as enjoyable for long periods of time as it is here.
How did you grow up in that?
I don't know. It's just like the only it's just like the only thing you know. Like, I never knew anything different.
How long did you live? 25 years? 26 years?
Yeah. 26 years in the Midwest between Illinois and Indiana. And I mean, those aren't even the worst spots, for at least the winter.
Yeah.
In the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan get it worse.
I can't even.
But you just get used to it, and that's, I think, another part of it, like being here now. Like, I almost think nothing of the winters here. Minus the fact you get a ton of snow, and I think that's awesome, because like back at home, we would get snow, and again, we're not like maybe Michigan, like on the east side of Lake Michigan there, where they have lake effect snow that comes down, like Buffalo got not too long ago. We don't get that insane amount of snow. We get a little bit, but it's not like we get the feet here that we get. So I think that's cool, but it's just the winter here is just so much more enjoyable because you're not shut down. Like, you can still go out and do a ton of things.
Oh yeah, and if you're into skiing and snowboarding and stuff like that, then it's like there's so much to go do. So
and so like it's still a time where you can get out and go do stuff. We'll go down to the desert a lot too for weekend trips, but if you want to stay closer to home, like you can still get outside and actually enjoy your time and not be 7 layers deep in winter clothing, and still freezing. So
that's the thing that I always get a little bit of a kick out of. It's actually when I see videos of guys going out and they go snowboarding or skiing, whatever. Half the time they're wearing like a hoodie, or even on like a sunnier day, a t-shirt.
We have those people back home, like especially as it's gearing towards the beginning of spring. But even in the dead of winter, it's an extremely cold day, and you always had the kid that wore shorts to school.
That's true.
Or like that first 30-degree day comes after, like, in the beginning of spring, and suddenly we're all like, "Oh, this is so warm."
So summer's
like,
here.
What a beautiful day! It's 30 degrees. And it's like it's definitely a different mindset of like, I don't necessarily know how you want to approach winter, but like what you expect from it. Like, back at home, like I never thought like, oh, like let's all just go out and do some hikes. Obviously, there's like not many hikes to do to begin with, but like, it's never like, unless you get a really good snow, it's you can do like make snowball fights, all that stuff. Like, you're not spending the entire day outside.
No.
Whereas here you can do that, and like here the snow is so much softer.
Yeah.
And more powdery too.
Yeah, you got that Utah greatest snow on earth,
Yeah,
thing.
like back at home, the snow, like it just gets chunky.
Yeah.
Like it's hard, it freezes over, and like it's just not the same kind of experience as it is here.
Yeah.
And obviously for hiking, it's different as well, because you get to certain spots up on a hike, and like little do you know, but like there's feet of snow underneath you, and like it's just packed down enough where you're on top of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that kind of separates, this place versus it kind of separates it from places like the Midwest, where a lot of the activities that people come here to do are centered around it snowing, are centered around winter. I mean, we hosted the Winter Olympics here,
right?
In 2002. So it's like, this is just a perfect spot for all that stuff. And it's, a lot of people, when winter comes, they kind of shut down, and they shut themselves indoors and stuff. And like, I'm just going to wait till winter's done. And it's like, you don't have to. There's plenty of things you can go do. So
yeah. And like you're saying, it's a perfect spot for winter, and almost designed around that to some degree. But like, it's just a perfect spot to do a lot of what we do. I mean, whether it's staying here and doing snow activities in winter, but in the summer, same way. You get mountains to hiking, or you have everywhere around, not only Utah, but the surrounding states that you can go do. And it's just, I mean, it's a totally different kind of life than I ever thought I would have.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because you go to all these places and suddenly, like this year, you know, we've been to a ton of different spots. And now I have all these like stories under my belt that's, you know, people ask, oh, like, what'd you do last weekend? It's like, oh, I went down to Arizona.
Yeah.
And it's like,
just a quick weekend trip.
like,
yeah.
it's almost funny because it seems casual.
Yeah. Or like, well, take for example, when we went to Telluride back in June, that was such a, especially for me, it was such a just just out of nowhere. You know, it was like one day. Like,
yeah, because I think I let you know like the day before. I was like, hey, I'm going to Telluride.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm coming.
Yeah. Because I'd always wanted to go. And I was like, well, if you're going, I'm definitely going.
Yeah. But like, it's just like you're saying, like it's so almost casual to us that it's like, oh, a day's notice.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes even just, you know, the same day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're just like, yeah, we'll go.
We'll go. Well, it's no big deal.
Because like a lot of these places are reachable within a weekend. You know,
well, I think
4
we
or
talked
5
about
hours.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that on a previous episode where, you know, to us, 3 to 4, you know, it's not that big of a deal. 3 to 4 hour drive, you know, even up to kind of 6. It's not too bad of a drive for us. For some people, that's like, oh, I got to drive to St. George. St. George is, you know, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And to them, it's like, oh, that drive that's awful. That's miserable. I don't want to go drive for 3 hours. To us, that's like, oh, quick 3 hours. That's nice.
It's
you
nothing.
Know? That's no big deal.
You know,
So-
and getting back to the idea, it's like, you know, you go to all these places and then you talk to people who don't do this. Mm-hmm. And they're like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, like I always love the idea. It's like you talk to people like, oh, I love to travel. And it's like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, how often you travel? Like, oh, like twice a year.
Yeah.
And it's like, we go like every other weekend.
Yeah.
Like, like it's totally different. Like, and I'm not saying these people don't really know what traveling is like because they're traveling, but it's just not as often as we do, and maybe as I'll say raw as we do because we go camping and, you know, brave the elements for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But like when we go out as much as we do, we come back and, you know, like I was saying, you know, like at work, people ask, oh, like, how was your weekend? It's like, oh, it was good. I went down to Zion for the quick weekend. Like, it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, that's a destination.
Yeah.
And it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it's like, we just say it like it's, you know, just another thing that happened.
Yeah. Ain't no thing.
Yeah. But like people think it's super cool. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, suddenly, I know you had this experience recently. Like suddenly you kind of become, you know, unintentionally one of like the cooler people that people meet because you have all these cool stories of places you've been and experiences to draw on.
Yeah. Oh, last weekend we were in the Tetons, and then like I don't know, the next day we were like, let's go to Moab, and it's no big deal, you know.
Yeah, and like for
makes you feel kind of cool.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like people just find that fascinating.
Yeah,
and like they don't understand maybe how we do it. I mean, we get questions all the time, like how do you guys do this for a living?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we don't. We have day jobs.
Yeah.
But then that almost might even be more impressive because it's like
we're balancing it all.
We literally just do this for our weekends and like just have fun with it. It's, you know, we obviously have some seriousness behind it, but to a certain degree, like it's just kind of, you know, something we do for fun.
Yeah.
And it definitely is a totally different like experience of life than a lot of people end up having.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's I don't know. It's fun. It is kind of funny though, because the other day you came home and I was watching, what was it, 14 Peaks. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't seen 14 Peaks, I highly recommend watching it. It's an incredible documentary. But it's about this guy who's hiking the 14 highest peaks in the world. You know, Mount Everest, K2. They're all kind of, you know, along that border of like, you know, it's Nepal area, you know, that China area. There's another country I can't think of what, Pakistan. You know, there's a whole mountain range right there. But watching those guys summit those peaks, it makes me just feel like I don't do anything.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, we basically, for the most part, just drive our car to a place and go for a walk.
Yeah. Or we go for a hike for a few miles.
But that's what I mean. Like, compared to what those guys are doing, like, we're just going for a walk.
Oh, yeah. Compared to them, yeah.
You know?
That's,
And so, like, it is really funny because there are people who think what we do is super cool. And we almost think nothing of it. We're like, yeah, I mean, it's
whatever.
It's just what we do,
Yeah.
I guess. But for us, there's another level of people who were like, dang, those people are really cool.
Those guys are real bushwhackers.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, they deserve the name more than we do.
Yeah. If we're being really honest.
Yeah. but it is really interesting that there's that, like, there's another level to it.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't realize. And maybe they, like, put us on that level with them without thinking or realizing it. But, like, we are not.
No, yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
Like, we do not belong in the same class as those guys.
Oh, yeah. No.
Because I don't know if I would ever even bother to attempt what these people do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, take for example, like, earlier this year, there was a Chris Burkhardt meetup thing at Fazari, the bicycle shop down in Linden. And he was telling this whole story the whole time about how they bike packed across Iceland, from the north point of Iceland to the south point of Iceland. Like, that's insane. Like, when you know, Iceland's not that big, but it's still like the size of Utah, you know? Like, can you imagine biking 300, 400 miles across a glacier? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, like it's just a different breed of human.
Yeah.
Again, like, we always, like, use the phrase, like, oh, we think we're cool.
Yeah.
Like, we say
We think we're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, we're not.
Yeah, no.
Like, in comparison, and, you shouldn't compare yourself to other people,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you shouldn't do that, but, like, in comparison to what a lot of other people do in this kind of space, well, like, we're not cool at all.
Yeah. No.
Like,
We're just amateurs.
We just drive our car to a spot and get out and take a couple photos.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, there are people out there who do some insane things. Like, you mentioned ice climbing. You mentioned the bike packing.
Yeah.
You have the free soloing community. Like, there's a ton of things out there.
Yeah.
That, like, another documentary that's along the same lines of 14 Peaks is The Alpinist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was incredible to watch.
Yeah, that guy is, well, he died.
Yeah, I mean...
Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen that.
Yeah,
the
it's too
documentary,
late. We're going to spoil
yeah.
it for you. But like, that's, like, a testament to exactly what we mean is, like, these people, and, some things like the bike packing maybe not be quite to that degree of difficulty, but, like, the Alpinist free solo, like, these people are putting their lives on the line.
Oh, yeah.
To do what is essentially, like, just a fun activity for them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it's something they have to be doing.
No. Yeah.
But they just want to do it. Whereas we go to a spot, we drive, we get out of our car, we go home. Like, there's never been...
we endure, like, 10 degrees.
Yeah, like, there's never been something that we've done where I'm like, oh, I might die tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's never come across my mind.
Oh, yeah. No, it is kind of funny. Like, when we go out to, we'll go out to... we'll go out and camp in the desert and stuff, and it gets down to... Gosh, I'm struggling here today. Yeah. It gets down to 10, 15 degrees.
Yeah, it's like, oh, my toes are
We're
cold.
like, oh, my toes are cold. Yeah.
I'm going to start my car up and get some warmth.
Yeah. I'm gonna freeze. It's like, no, you're not. And then you think about what some of these other guys are doing, and it's like, they're on the top
Yeah,
of
like, we're babies.
K2, and it's, I don't know how negative what temperature.
They have to carry oxygen with them.
They have to carry oxygen tanks, yeah. I mean, these backpacks that these guys are carrying they're huge, and they're climbing 26,000 feet with them.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's just a totally different world.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think one of the most fascinating things about, like, what we do is that there are people who think what we do is extremely fascinating and cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you take another step up and look at it from our perspective, and we're not even touching the surface
No.
of what, humans are possible of doing.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely not.
And it's just, I don't know. It's something that, like, there are definitely parts of it, or, like, certain activities I think it would be cool to go do someday.
Yeah.
To go on an adventure like that. Because we watch those documentaries, like, that would be cool if we could do that.
I could probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I could probably do that, but I know I won't.
Yeah.
But like, it's just, I don't know. It's a really a really neat thing to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And just see like how other people view what you do compared to how you view what you do, but also what people who are doing things bigger than you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
doing.
Well, I think a good example of this is Wyatt Peterson. You know, he's our November photographer of the month. And that dude, when we asked him, we didn't really, you know, we've always known that Wyatt's he does a lot of extreme kind of stuff. You know, he'll go
Oh yeah.
climb Timp in the winter and stuff. And he started sending some of his photos and some of his, you know, answers to the questions that we sent him and stuff. And we were just talking to each other like, oh my gosh, this guy's like he's
legit.
He's legit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, he's a
I'm
real
not.
adventurer. Like that dude, how many times did he climb Timp this summer? Like 16 or something like that?
16 in
Yeah.
16 weekends.
In 16 weekends.
Like,
That's right.
Like
yeah.
he did it every weekend for like 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Which I did it once last year and I was like, honestly, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, that hike kind of.
Yeah, I mean, like it's probably a little different because we were carrying a little bit more gear than he probably was.
Yeah, he was pretty light.
But at the same time, like he's also like in much better shape and can just crush that
Oh, he's
hike.
in incredible
so
shape.
it's
Yeah.
totally different than
Yeah.
what I was doing. But like, yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. You know, you even here, you know, that's a great example. It's like, you know, we do some cool things, but there are people even just here that are doing or going above and beyond what we do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember end of last year. So I kind of mentioned this. He climbs Timp in the wintertime, like the beginning of December, end of November. You know, the trails to get back to the Timpanuki trailhead and the, I can't think of the, whatever the other trailhead is. Those are all closed in the wintertime. So he climbs the front side of Timpanogos, which is, Timpanogos is, I don't know, 11,500 feet, something like that. And the front side is like just a couple miles, but it's like straight up. You know, that's a hike. It's called Everest Ridge. And I remember last year he did it, and I messaged him, and I was like, I'm coming with you next year. I'm going to start training.
And are you going with?
I'm not going with him this year.
That's what I
You know,
thought. Yeah.
that never happened. I never trained for it, but
See, at least I'm not going to do, but I didn't say I was.
yeah,
So you went back on your word.
I did go back on my word. I know, and I'm sorry about that, Wyatt.
And bushwhackers don't do that.
I know.
But you know, that's just the way it is. Like unless you're prepared to do stuff like that, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because it can
no.
be dangerous.
It can be, yeah.
And it's a good example to learn from. Like, yes, it would be super cool to just be like, oh, I'm going to go do that this weekend. But like winter changes things.
It really does. You have to be so much more prepared.
Yeah. You have to make sure you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're prepared to do it and you're in the shape to do all that.
Yeah. Not that you don't have to be prepared in the summertime, but it's just a different kind of preparation.
It was different because, like,
So-
let's say you get stuck somewhere, you know, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You may not have service. Now it's going to get super cold.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have maybe a ton of food on you, if any.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not something you want to take lightly, is all.
No, definitely not.
Not saying that people are going to have issues. I mean, for the most part, doing any of the standard trails, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's when you start doing some of the little crazier stuff like hiking Timp in the
yeah.
winter, just got to be careful is all.
Yeah.
Safety is our highest priority at Bushwhackers.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure you do it right.
Yep. Just got to be prepared. Be mindful.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to end today.
I do too.
It's
yeah.
good, quick, short episode.
Yeah, I like quick, short episodes.
Yeah, it's
So,
not bad.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
if you like this video, make sure you like it on YouTube. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. So, when we post a video, you get notified right
and-
away.
And check out the links below.
Yeah.
So our Instagrams are linked below. Bushwhackers Instagram's linked below, as long as our websites and everything. And
yeah.
so check it out.
Go check it out. Connect with us. Send us a message.
Yeah.
If you have things you'd like us to talk about on the show, send it our way.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to give you our thoughts.
Yeah. We have lots of opinions.
Oh, we have tons of opinions.
So
So, all right.
cool.
That's it.
All right.
Peace.